Well, hi, everybody. It's Steve Tarter. We're back with Tarter Sauce and PJ Star Podcast. And my guest, he's back. It's Larry Ware. Larry, probably a lot of ways to introduce you, but how about radio archivist?
Oh, that sounds
You like
okay.
that one?
That sounds good.
Because the last time you were here, Larry, we played some of the old spots from Peoria radio from the 50s. And I think, the days gone by with the car hops and the rock and roll was just getting going back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Well, now we thought we'd address the 60s, maybe the early 60s. And you, once again, have brought along from your vast collection of Peoria radio some spots, advertising spots. Mm-hmm. They're played on, well, predominantly WIRL, but probably played on other stations at the time, too. But WIRL being the 1290, the sort of the hit station.
They were the number one station in the market by 1961. So we're looking at 1962 and 1964 today. And so they were the station to tune into. They were the hip place.
The hip place. Well, we're going to warn everybody, for this podcast, we're going to actually play a lot of commercials. But hang on. There won't be any commercials. Probably you can't go to these places anymore. Some of them maybe. Some have held on, but these are long gone.
Most of them are.
Played a long time ago. Why don't you start us off with, we'll just give them a little bit of a hint. The big TV show in 64 was Batman. Yeah. So here's the spot. Will you play it, Larry?
They played in on the Batman theme here.
Outside Celestial City, our intrepid pair start in pursuit of the fleeing penguin. Quick, Robin, the bat car.
Sorry, Batman, the engine won't start.
Well, that finishes our chase then. Is this then to be the end of the career of our crime fighters? Has the spark gone out of their career? The Pika New Car Dealers present... Quick, Robin, better push the bat car to Pekin. We have to have a new bat car to continue our never-ending fight against the forces of evil. What is this? Our dynamic duo has not given up yet?
But Bop and Biff, Batman, which one of the 9 new car dealers in Pekin shall we go to?
Any one of them, Boy Wonder. Any one of them will give us a good trade-in for our bat car on a new model. Keep pushing. But, Batman, wait. Which of the 9 Pekin New Car Dealers sells bat cars? Heimbaugh Chevrolet, Emerson Pontiac, Veldy Ford, Shearer Buick, Dale Sims Dodge, Fortin Shaw Chrysler Plymouth, Brinkman Oldsmobile and Cadillac, Barris Rambler, or Blanchard Lincoln Mercury. Here we are, Robin, at our Pekin New Car Dealers.
And there's the penguin. Caught you, you evildoer.
Curses, I knew it would be my downfall, but I couldn't resist that Pekin New Car Dealer deal.
Wow, there you go with Batman from the 60s. And, Larry, one of the things, and we're going to hear more of these spots from the 60s that played on local radio, but you see that you hear the production that went in. Now, some of it's a little cornball, and of course they're always playing off the hot thing of the time, and you've got plenty of examples of that.
Oh, yeah, that was a big hit
Batman
TV show.
was big on TV, and the Bop and all that Zap stuff, the comic book thing. And they translated it to, well, in this case, the Pekin Car Dealers. I did hear Veldy. They're still around.
And Fort, I know, isn't there
Fort's still around.
I think there's still
Fort. So some of them are still hanging in there. Well, let's hear, now, we're going to go back and forth between cars and food.
Sure.
What about Big John? Big John was always a sort of a landmark for the barbecue.
Well, he got his start in Peoria in 1950, and he started out very humbly in a little shack along Monson and Glendale streets.
Right downtown.
So this one would be 1964. By that time, he was rolling pretty good. Now, some of these commercials actually have his voice on them. But this one gives a little background.
Okay.
And, of course, they did the classic theme with the song that was popular in 1961, Big Bad John.
Big John, Big John.
Here's more in the story of that guy named John. That's John with the barbecues. You know the one. Big John.
Big John. Big John.
He came to town one wintry day, said, I'm gonna barbecue this way. Brought along his sauce and a big smile, too. Opened up a place called John's Barbecue.
Big John. Big John.
Folks, they drive to John's from miles around to try those ribs by the dinner or pound from Big John. He's a friendly man, a giant of a guy. When you stop at John's, you'd better say hi to Big John.
Big John.
Try John's sauce with beef and pork sandwiches, barbecued right. Eat 'em there or have John deliver 'em today or tonight. John's Barbecue, you know the one. John's Barbecue, 719 Monson.
Big John.
I wonder if Jimmy Dean got any of the royalties
I
on that
doubt
one.
if he got. Maybe they gave him a free sandwich when they came to when he came to town.
Peoria.
He did come to town and play in Peoria.
Did he?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he did. So
They probably said, "Don't listen to WRL because
Yeah,
you might have us in trouble here."
keep away from the lawsuits.
One of the things that was going on in the '60s, and we'll go back to the '62. We heard this one earlier. Was, of course, we're going for the space race.
Oh,
we're
yes.
going for the moon, and you've got to spot another car dealer. They seem to be very inventive out in Eureka.
Yeah, Heil Motors in
Heil Motors.
Eureka was an Oldsmobile dealership.
Okay.
And at WRL's very creative advertising team, they put together this
Yeah,
one.
they put on the space race.
This is a really inventive commercial here.
Here's another first-hand report from the rocket proving grounds in Eureka.
Ollie Olds reporting from the rocket proving grounds at Heil Motors in Eureka. Bill Ferrix has a new rocket Olds poised in the showroom. His partner, Al Wynett, is ready to launch it into the stream of modern-day traffic.
Wait, don't launch that rocket. Please don't. The price is too low. We're not even making a profit.
Too late. The countdown has already started. The rocket Olds from Heil Motors has gone into orbit.
For the best deal on an automobile, see Bill Ferrix and Al Wynett at Heil Motors in Eureka.
The profit goes to you, the customer, at Heil Motors in Eureka. And you buy confidently at Heil Motors. Confident that you receive the best price. Confident of the finest service. See Al Wynett and Bill Ferrix. If you don't get Heil's prices before you buy, you may be paying too much. Price them all, then see Heil Motors in Eureka for the best deal on the Rocket Oldsmobile.
I think that was Robin Weaver's voice.
That
there.
was Robin Weaver.
Long-time
yes.
morning man on WIRL.
Yeah, he worked there from 1948 to 1980.
Wow,
That was a long time.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you got to remember, people were wondering, well, what inspired that rocket thing? Well, at that time in '62, kids were being filed into the auditorium to watch Mercury, and we hadn't quite got to the actual landing. That would come in '69.
Yeah, they'd be watching Alan Shepard.
Yeah,
and
those guys
John Glenn.
orbiting the Earth and all that. So that was a big deal. And of course, we think back on it now as it was a landmark. You had an interesting one there. This was 1962 again, and this was the launch of the film Music Man.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everyone knows that the Robert Preston, I think, played it on. I think he played it on Broadway, and then it was in the movie.
I know he was in the movie for sure. He was classic in that.
Oh
film.
yeah. You only associate him with that now, although it's been done many times. I think Music Man's coming back. I think one of the local community theater groups is doing Music Man
I wouldn't
again.
doubt it.
Yeah, so it's always in service. But why don't we hear that one, because that's a flashback too.
Okay. We'll get this one.
You can win an all-expense-paid trip to Hollywood for two.
In Webcor's Music Man contest.
Boys and girls from 8 to 18 enter the exciting Webcor Music Man contest at Peoria Musical Instrument Company, 617 Main.
Get your official entry blank with complete contest rules and make a free tape recording of any musical selection on any qualified instrument at Peoria Musical Instrument Company.
Win a Webcor transistor radio, an LP record album of The Music Man, 2 free passes to the new hit movie of The Music Man.
Or even greater prizes, a Webcor tape recorder for your school, or one of 150 regional prizes to be awarded.
Grand prize in Webcor's Music Man contest, an all-expense-paid trip to Hollywood for two, plus a scholarship to a University National Stage Band Camp course.
Enter Webcor's Music Man contest at Peoria Musical Instrument Company, 617 Main. Make a free tape recording on any recognized instrument. Contest closes April 30th.
Mom and Dad, tell your boy or girl, 8 to 18, about the exciting new Webcor Music Man contest. Full details at Peoria Musical Instrument Company, 617 Main.
right here in River City.
How about
there
that?
We go.
Now, Webcore was a very affordable, portable reel-to-reel deck back in those days.
Reel-to-reel.
Yes.
Boy, there's people out there listening who go, "What is reel-to-reel?" You know,
they'd have to watch some of the old shows from the 70s where they show some of those decks.
Right. Well, I always think with Mission Impossible, the little tape.
They had a
and
small
then it blew
one.
up. Yeah, small one.
Yeah.
So I remember those of us old enough to remember reel-to-reel. Remember all the problems with it when you,
Now all these audio clips are coming from reel-to-reel. That's what they're originally on.
And you've been able to transfer those, right?
Actually, a friend of mine did most of the transferring. Spencer Stewart did that, but he did give me the original tapes. Right. And there's some information in some tapes that have not been transferred that I'm going to work on in the future.
You've always got a project. We're talking with Larry Ware, you've got lots of WRL, you've got WPEO. Mm-hmm. I think you've got some Chicago stuff, too.
I have some Larry Lujak, John Landecker, WLS from the 70s.
Yeah. And it's funny because those kind of things you would think, oh, yeah, they're out there somewhere. You don't always hear those. No. And you certainly don't always hear these little spots. They're right here from Central
This
Illinois.
is probably the first time any of these have been heard since they were originally played on WRL. Right. Yeah, they're not out. They're not circulated anywhere.
I gotta hear this one because I haven't heard this. This is the one you have on the 64, the Bellevue Drive-In. 4 shocking films.
Oh, this is hilarious! Absolutely hilarious.
Of course, now we're flashing back to the Drive-In, which is another memory from that era.
Oh yes.
Do you have nerves of steel? Can you take shock, terror, then see? Arama! Starting tomorrow at the Bellevue Drive-In Theater. 4 shocking features only for those brave enough to stand it. See the beast thing from the flames of Hades. See the creature that grows, grows, and grows. See, from hell it came. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can kill it. It lives on and on with one thought, to destroy. Keltiki, the immortal monster. See it destroy cities, the biggest thing ever. 200 feet of terrifying shock with deadly death ray. The giant behemoth. It craved beauty and roamed the land. See the most terrifying shocker of them all, Bride and the Beast. 4 shockers in all. Fright-Arama, starting tomorrow at the Bellevue Drive-In Theater on Route 116 just west of Peoria. Because of the nature of these films, they are recommended for adult viewing only.
I don't think they'd turn any teens away, though.
Oh, I'm sure many teens got in to see those.
In fact, that's
probably only teens.
I was going to say, who else would go?
Oh, yeah.
The Giant Behemoth, I remember that movie. And From Hell It Came, I remember that movie. Of course, no, I didn't see them in the drive-in. This was years later.
I have to say I've never seen any of those films.
You show good taste for that, Larry. they weren't much. I mean, some of those, and I say 50s, because I think some of those actually were maybe 50s or early 60s films, they're from the so bad it's good school. But
yes.
That's questionable whether it's good. They're pretty bad.
They're the films that Mystery Science Theater generally runs.
Right, yeah, and have fun with. And, of course, now you can find them online, YouTube and other places. What's your choice here? You know this list pretty well. What's something we haven't hit up here yet?
Well, here's a restaurant that kind of competed with Sandy's and McDonald's. Unfortunately, I never went to it, but it was on Main Street, and they had a location on Adams. But it was the top of Main Street Hill.
Yep.
And this is Quick, Mr. Quick.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Announcer, does football make you hungry?
Listen, Mr. Quick, everything makes me hungry.
Then you'd better come with me.
Okay, but where are we going?
Oh, come now. Where else?
We're going to Mr. Quick, right?
Right. We're gonna have a Quick Nick.
Great. With a Mr. Quick burger?
Of course. We'll get 'em fresh off the Mr. Quick char broiler.
Think I'll have one of those super drinks, too.
There's cola, orange, and root beer. They're a pint and a half big, and they only cost 20 cents. And those creamy super shakes are only 30 cents.
And they're super delicious, too. So you kids remember, after the game, after school, any time is a good time for a Quick Nick at Mr. Quick. Mr. Quick is located at 3901 Southwest Adams, and it's the top of the Main Street Hill in Peoria, and at 611 South Main in Normal.
and Jack, be quick. Jack, run over to Mr. Quick for double quick service and food that is best. Run, run, run to Mr. Quick.
I think you had Mr. Quick up there along with Steak and Shake.
That's
up
right.
there.
They were just about across the street from each other.
I was going to say that was sort of the drive-through destination of the day. But yeah, I do remember Mr. Quick. They mentioned prices in there, and of course, from the early '60s, they seem ridiculously low now. But you made a point, and you've got a spot here on gasoline that I think, and then I want you to kind of bring us up to speed after it. Before you swoon about the low price you hear, we'll let Larry tell you about something. But when we hear that one,
well, let me jump back to the Mr. Quick commercial 1 second. They mentioned 30 cents for a shake. At that time, Sandy's was offering a shake for 20 cents.
Oh.
So Sandy's was actually cheaper. So this is Star Gasoline from 1962.
Star slashes gasoline prices.
Now at your Star service stations, first grade Star regular gasoline at just 28.9 a gallon with stamps, all tax paid.
Drive in and fill her up with Star. See your Star service stations at 900 South Jefferson in Peoria and Star at 2nd and Broadway in Pekin.
You get famous high-power Star regular gasoline for just 28.9 a gallon, all tax paid, and stamps too when you fill her up at your Star service station.
Prices are slashed on first grade regular gasoline at Star. Just 28.9 a gallon with stamps, all tax paid. Drive in at Star, 900 South Jefferson in Peoria and 2nd and Broadway in Pekin.
Top performing Star regular gasoline, only 28.9 a gallon with stamps at your Star service station.
Yes, just 28.9 a gallon, all tax paid, and get the extra savings of stamps too.
The price of first grade regular gasoline has been sliced down to 28.9 a gallon at Star. Drive in at your Star service station, 900 South Jefferson in Peoria and 2nd and Broadway in Pekin.
And the stamps they're talking about are probably green stamps or some kind of...
Or top value.
Oh, yeah, one of the stamps
of
of the day, which people put in, their little booklets, and then you redeem them for, whatever, pots, pans, or whatever the items were.
They had stores. I know we went and bought a chair with stamps on University Street. I think it was Top Value. Kroger's offered those. Right. The grocery stores were all into that.
Now, they made a big point of telling you it was 28.9 cents a gallon. Taxes included.
Yes.
No extra taxes. That's always good news. But now bring us up to speed on what that means when you look at the prices today.
Well, I did a little search on the internet. You can go in and find an inflation calculator.
Okay.
So I put in 29 cents.
Right.
And in today's money, 29 cents is $2.36. And you can buy gas in Peoria right now for $2.36.
You can actually buy for less in some places, but I mean that's right. That's probably the going rate.
So right now we have as cheap a gas as we did back then when they were boasting their 28.9.
And that's one reason why we'll save this for another show because Larry, you just got an electric car,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do one on electric cars because
the gas is real cheap on that.
Yeah, well, I bet. but we were just talking about the move to electrics, and because gas is so cheap, the dealers are still selling the SUVs, the trucks.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, they're still flying out of here, so that's still a big factor.
I told my wife I just want to get a step ahead of the game.
Well, there
they
you
said
go.
You buy one when the gas is cheap, so you get a cheap one.
That's right. That's right. Well, we'll get to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're exploring some of the commercials of the '60s, the early '60s with Larry Ware, and these played on WIRL, the top station of the day. What else have we got here, Larry?
I like to run this Sandy's high-low sweepstakes commercial.
Sandy's.
Now, Sandy's, when they came out, had a very limited menu.
Okay.
And they could keep their food very cheap. It's sort of McDonald's. McDonald's and Sandy's
were two very similar.
And they ran about the same fare. And so Sandy's was upping the ante with a new sandwich. And so this is a 1964 commercial for Sandy's high-low sandwich.
Okay.
Hurry! Only 2 more days left to enter the Sandy's High-Low Sweepstakes.
High prize, $1,000. Low prize, $100.
But enter now and enter often at Sandy's.
Sandy's on McClure between Knoxville and North, on Western just below the hill, on Sheridan across from Sheridan Village, and on Court Street in Beacon.
The 2 winners will be announced at the Sandy's National Convention this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Hotel Pere Marquette.
High prize $1,000 and low prize $100. Only 2 more days to enter.
Let me run one more here. Here's another Sandy's high-low commercial, and this one gives their price.
High!
Low!
With the cheese in the middle and the pickle on top.
Sandy's introduced the great new Sandy's High-Low Sandwich. 2 delicious ground beef patties on a golden bun.
With the cheese in the middle and the pickle on top.
The High-Low Sandwich, just 29 cents at Sandy's. Try this new sandwich idea at Sandy's on Sheridan, across from Sheridan Village, on Western, just below the hill, on McClure, just off Knoxville, and on Court Street in Pekin.
Hurry, you have only till noon today to enter Sandy's High-Low Sweepstakes. High prize $1,000, low prize $100.
Nothing to buy to win. Winners to be announced tonight at 6 p.m. at the Sandy's National Convention at the Hotel Pere Marquette in Peoria.
Be sure to try the delicious new High-Low Sandwich. 2 ground beef patties on a golden bun with the cheese in the middle and the pickle on top.
The High-Low Sandwich, just 29 cents at Sandy's.
High!
Low!
At Sandy's!
I got it. The Sandy's National Convention.
How
Did
about
you hear that? In
'64. I didn't know they had one. I missed that.
Well, I know that just from having spoken to the lady who wrote the book about Ray Kroc and his wife, Joan, that the Sandy's connection was big because Ray, Ray basically started McDonald's in Illinois and was figuring on, I think in the mid '50s, Peoria as one of his McDonald's, and I think he got in with some other folks, and things didn't go right, and they got mad, and they started Sandy's, and they started it really on their. I won't say Ray came up with it because he himself got it from the McDonald's brothers, but that split, and those guys were in court, Sandy's and McDonald's for 7-8 years, or whatever it was.
I was trying to think of when they settled, but yeah,
it took a while.
Years.
Yeah, it took a while. But as you said early on, in the meantime, both did very well. Obviously, we know about McDonald's, but Sandy's did well.
They did,
especially in this area.
I think McDonald's edged them out with their Ronald McDonald advertising campaign,
TV and all that.
And Sandy's just really didn't have that appeal. I mean, they didn't.
Right.
They didn't really go. They didn't do a lot of television ads. They didn't put that much money into it. So.
And of course, Sandy's became Hardee's.
Right, about 1973, I think it was, or so. They were bought out by Hardee's.
We see all the history you learn on this podcast. You just find out just so many things.
I loved Sandy's. We went to the McClure location all the time, and I can remember their chocolate milkshake had a dome. You took the cap off, and it had kind of a dome on top, and I can still taste those.
I can remember.
So good.
I don't know how often I went in there, but I know I went by it. I remember there was a Sandy's in downtown Peoria.
Yeah,
right at the corner
on
Main Street. I think I don't know how you entered, but. So we actually had fast food in downtown Peoria, which I think we need to get back. But anyway, that's probably on the list of to-do things for downtown. Hey, Larry, let's play one more here.
Sure.
Because I know you pick it out because you know your list and you know kind of maybe something different that we haven't heard yet.
Well, here's something kind of off the theme, but WRL, as we mentioned, was number one.
Right.
They were at that time the rating service was Pulse. Now we kind of touched on this the last time we had a podcast, and you were asking if they still did the diaries.
Oh yeah.
And I looked it up today, and Nielsen does the diaries still, and that would be a booklet they would hand out that a person would fill out as to what radio station that they're listening to determine which one's more popular.
And don't they do? Bigger markets?
Well, they do other things too. They monitor now. They can monitor electronically. Most radio stations are streaming their signal, so they can pull in those statistics now. And then they also do a thing where they give a recorder to people, and they record what they're listening to, so that they know radio station.
So they know exactly what they're hearing.
Yeah, it's a little more, probably more accurate.
Well, because I always heard this from the radio stations. They were always a little concerned about the diaries because people would tend to go with what they recalled. Like they would remember WMBD because it's good call letters. I'm sure in the day they remember WRL. But you don't always remember everything, especially if you're turning that dial a lot. you know.
They sent one to me back in the '60s, and they paid you 25 cents to
big money.
You know what? For me, that was okay.
That's enough to get it done.
I could buy some penny candy with that.
Yeah.
But I took that diary with me everywhere, and I had my little transistor.
So you were accurate on yours.
When I tuned in, I wrote it right down. Wrote the times
I can only
down.
imagine what your diary looked like, Larry. Well, you want to play this then from WRL?
Yeah, this is a WRL Pulse promo.
WIRL is once again pulse-proven #1.
Whirl is first all morning, first all afternoon, first all evening. Pulse-proven, first 100% of the time surveyed.
Yes, the latest report from Pulse proves once again WIRL is first in Peoria.
First with more women, first with more men, first with more young people.
Thank you, Peoria, for making WIRL your favorite listening habit.
WIRL, once again, pulse-proven #1.
WIRL, first 100% of the time.
Of course, now that was 1964. It was the top 40 station in Peoria, WRL. AM was it. Did you have FM then?
There was some FM. WMBD was broadcasting on FM. I think there was a WSIV was 10.
So a little bit of FM.
107 or something. It became WSWT. There was a handful of FM stations, but there really wasn't that much listening.
Right.
I mean, all the car radios were AM. And most people had an AM radio. We had an AM radio in our kitchen, and and at that time we didn't even own an FM radio in our house. We didn't have one in 1964.
It came later.
Yeah, it really came out with multiplexing and stereo. Really, the '70s brought FM out. So WRL was the only top 40 station in Peoria. So all you had in this market was WIRL and, for the most part, WLS.
Right, from Chicago.
If you had a really good radio, you could get KXOK or KSD from St. Louis. I did listen to them some.
Well, now, wouldn't you get sometimes WCFL out of Chicago?
CFL was really hard to get in Peoria. They have an east-west pattern, and they don't really pattern that station. That's 1000 AM, and it interferes with WPEO, which is 1020. And 1020 is they spread out. WPEO spreads out a little over WCFL, so you had to get a pretty selective radio. I finally got a car radio that I could listen to WCFL on in high school because Larry Lujak went from WLS to CFL for a while.
Did he?
In the early 70s.
You followed Lujak.
Oh, yeah.
Followed his career.
The clunk letter, and this is before Animal Stories.
Oh, yeah. No, he did a lot of stuff. I know that.
Yeah. So it was easier to say you have 100% of the market back then because there just wasn't that much market share.
Well, Larry, this has been great. We gave you a little taste. I know you got a lot more, but we maybe want to save that for another day. But we want to come back to you on electric cars and maybe on various other subjects involving radio and media and all that stuff. But what is your present sort of habit right now? Are you working on a project or just collecting, or what's
I
up?
have VLJ's tapes.
This is a WIRL DJ.
VLJ, Volney Lamb Jr., was a DJ that worked at WIRL from 1961 to at least 1969, and an engineer that worked for WIRL, Patrick Lopeman. It was a good friend of VLJ, and VLJ's wife gave him all these tapes.
Oh, okay.
And he has since put them into my hands.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to be transferring those to CD, and they're just beautiful condition. I gave one to you as a sample.
I've heard VLJ. I hadn't really recognized him until I got your CD.
He had the classic radio voice for back then, just absolutely classic. He was a professional, and he went on to other markets later on.
Like so many of the radio guys.
Yeah, and he worked in radio all the rest of his life. So.
Oh, very good. Well, we'll maybe get back to you on a VLJ spotlight there. Okay,
that sounds good.
Larry Ware, thanks so much for coming on. Hey, we want to thank Matt Dayhoff at the controls for our Tarter Sauce podcast, and hey, we'll see you next time.